Most of the videos we have seen about the flooding, one thing is very certain about Lagos, and that is the fact that it is a very, very dirty state. Unethical dumping of refugees, I don't think has ever been this high in Lagos State. Sure. There is the social responsibilities that as citizens, we have to do our part. You should know how to depose your refuse properly. I don't even think we want a better government or a good government, realistically. Most of us, we want the government to be this bad because that's the only way we can exploit it to make profits for ourselves. Why would the poultry exist in this location in the first place? It is because the person that built the poultry exploited the loopholes in government and maybe got an approval to build a poultry in that place. At least basic knowledge of how urbanization should work should tell you that there are places where some things should be.
Hey guys, welcome back to TheArkitecktsHub. This episode kicks off with a brand new series. So today we're going to be talking about flooding in Nigeria and Lagos to be specific. And with me I have my brother here, Dan, and we're just going to be talking about what's going on, yeah? So Daniel, what do you think about the flooding situation in Nigeria? Lagos to be precise.
Okay, so personally, right, I think the flooding situation in Nigeria stemmed from the fact that they're building a mega city, like a coastal mega city, on wetlands. Okay. So you are building on wetlands and not figuring out where the waters that were supposed to be on those wetlands would go to. Yeah. So I think that is foundationally one of the problems that we are facing in Lagos. So I will give you, let's say this year alone, Lagos is going to expect about 990 million milliliters of rainfall. Yeah. Right. And this is a coastal city, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are building on wetlands in a coastal city, there's bound to be flooding. True. And then Lagos is a place where if you go to maybe the Lekki axis of Lagos, for instance, it's a flat land. It's not like places where you have, you can say there is gravity drainage. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I should use that word. So if you want to do a drainage in Lagos, for instance, it is still, you have to make the ground, you have to put it against gravity. You're fighting against gravity in the first place because they're flat land. Yeah. So there is so much that you would consider as to the reasons why the city is flooded. But the biggest factor in it is the greed. And that is because the rich want to build a coastal mega city and they don't care about what happens to every other person.
Personally, I won't just, turn me down to the rich wanting to build a coastal city. I believe that the government still has a strong role to play in this. I don't just believe that it's just the citizens. I believe the government have a strong role to play in this. Because like you mentioned, the drainage system and other things, I don't think that was left for the rich to handle. This problem has been a problem that has been going on since before, I can't even recall.
Lagos have been flooding since when?
So first of all, if we are talking about the government here, we have known that this problem has been going on for a while. They haven't done anything to fix it. If you look at the drainage system in Lagos right now, it's either so small or it's clogged and nothing is going on about it. So I don't think that is something that should be left for just the what I call the elites, to build on.
Okay, so Lagos is a green city, right? I think statistics as of Lagos was 7.5 million, maybe as of 1990 something already. Mm-hmm. So I think the whole of Abuja is still about 5 million or so. So Lagos, and so consider if as of 1999 or so, it was 7 million thereabout. We'll consider what will Lagos, what will the population of Lagos right now, right? So that is also a factor. But we are talking about what is happening currently. We understand that as the years go by, the intensity of the flood would increase, right? But the fact that it has gotten to this level at this point, it is because the coastal city let me just use Echo Atlantic City, for instance.
Yeah.
Is being built on reclaimed lands. Those are wetlands. That is the coastal part of Lagos. It's being built on wetlands, and you are pushing the water away. So the water has to go somewhere else. And whether you like it or not, I would still put a difference between, because Lagos is obviously segmented into two parts. There's the island, and then there's the mainland. And you know the people, I'm not trying to classify anybody as them, but we know the people that live in the island.
Yeah.
And we know the people that live in the mainland. Even though Lekki originally is not part of the island. I hope you know that. I don't know if Lekki is not part of the island, but we know Nigerians now and classism.
Yeah.
If you we want to associate with the place that's making the waves, because the island is a place surrounded by water. Lekki is not surrounded by water. It's more of a peninsula than an island. But let's just categorize it that way. Right? If you look at it this way now, the whole stretch of Lekki, Victoria Island, Ikoyi, all of those places, Chevron and the rest, those are flat lands that were first of all wetlands, right? So if you look at people living in those areas, they are the rich and the rich and the rich people. Those are the people that are living in those areas.
Yeah.
So if those places that should act as sponges, you know what sponges are? When there's rainfall, it's just if you have a thick sponge and you put it inside water, it retains water for some time before it moves to its natural habitat. Those places were supposed to be sponges for the Earth's surface. But now those places have been reclaimed and they've used it to build luxury houses for the rich.
So back to what I'm
So
saying.
it means that, I know that you want to say the role of the government, right? But it means that I'm just going to say that the rich have always created opportunities for themselves, whether in connivance with the government or not. They have always created those opportunities for themselves, and they've left the poor to suffer from it. But they fail to realize something, right? No matter how this circle goes around, it will still get back to you. And that's why they're still suffering from it now.
But my point is that, despite all the factors you have listed now, nothing can go down without the approval of the government. Are we together here?
Yes, nothing can go down without the approval of the government, but you also have to consider reclaiming lands is not essentially a wrong thing.
Sure.
This is the way we go about it. So if you go to places like Chevron, for instance, Chevron Estate is one of the elitist parts of Lagos, right? Yeah. But if you go there, they understood that for a city to grow, there must be some things that must be put in place. Chevron is built on a wetland, but they created a lake for themselves. So when the water goes down, there's a place that it can go and stay. Yeah. Do you understand? But if you go through the whole of those corridors with all of the wetlands there, the only places you can find a lake is maybe Chevron and maybe Lekki Peninsula, the resorts there. Those are the only places. So if you look at a place like Chevron, they are the rich, but they thought it wise to create a lake that would help them avoid flooding. If every other person decided to do that, it would have worked properly. So the government, yes, they have a role to play in approving and all of those things, but I don't want us to just pour all of the problems at the door of the government, because there are still people that would have exploited the loopholes of the government to do wrong.
Yeah.
But they decided to use their influence to do right.
Yes.
So what stops you as a rich person from towing that line?
Yes. But then again, like you said, people want to, be affiliated with, the rich. They want to be everybody, expand people being in Lekki and everything. So in places like Agungi, the place that was flooded, I think that was last week or 2 weeks ago. Now, Agungi is still part of the island, but you still have some middle class, a lot of middle class people are living in Agungi presently. So what do you expect from the middle class people what innovation do you think that they can do because of what's going on? That's why I'm pushing this to the government here.
Okay.
So what do you think these middle class people can do to, prevent or even manage the flood situation?
I think that, first of all, just like you said, yes, we agree that the government has a big role to play.
Yeah.
But from most of the videos we have seen about the flooding, one thing is very certain about Lagos, and that is the fact that it is a very, very dirty state. You understand? Unethical dumping of refuses is like, I don't think it has ever been this high in Lagos State.
Sure.
So it's not the government that's coming to dump the refugees there, right?
Yeah.
The only thing you can fault the government for is maybe they've not provided sufficient channels to dump those refugees. But people would legit take their refuse, and because they see flowing water, they'll put it. And those people are not necessarily poor people.
True.
Those are people that we would consider the elites, literate people at least. But they will take their refugees from their homes and put it into a flowing water. And those refugees, at the end of the day, will go and block so many canals and drainages. So there is the social responsibilities that as citizens, we have to do our part.
Of course.
It is not the government, it is not waste from government house that they came to pour in that place. It is waste from people's houses.
Yeah.
So the first thing you should do as a citizen is that you should know how to dispose your refuse properly. Do you understand? You have to be ethical with everything you do.
Yeah.
If you say, okay, let's leave the government, should the government now come and pack the thing from your house and put it inside a truck? No, it's not done like that.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is, when we do our part, we can now hold the government to account, say, government, you are supposed to come and pack refugees from these places. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But when you, as a citizen, there's no difference between what you're doing and what the government is doing. Because the government is bad, decided to be bad, and you take your refugees and dump inside flowing water, and it goes to cause erosion somewhere else.
Yeah.
You also share responsibility as a citizen.
So we're saying it's a shared responsibility.
It's a shared responsibility. And you know something? When I watched through most of the videos of the erosion, and there's one video that was making rounds about the poultry farm,
so
where the erosion
cleared
all the person's investments. There's something that struck me as an individual, and that's the fact that we as citizens, I don't even think we want a better government or a good government, realistically, because if you look at most of us, we want the government to be this bad because that's the only way we can exploit it to make profits for ourselves. Do you understand? You're sitting in a table of corruption. If the country eventually gets better, you now have to work hard. No, they don't want to work hard. Nobody wants to work hard. Do you understand? You just want to be, maybe you're not just there eating now. That's why you're angry. You understand?
Once you get there,
you smile. So that is, collectively, we've not come to an understanding that the society should work for everybody, not just a few people.
Yeah.
So I watched that video and I saw that why would a poultry exist in this location in the first place? It is because the person that built the poultry exploited the loopholes in governments and maybe got an approval to build a poultry in that place. At least basic knowledge of how urbanization should work should tell you that there are places where some things should be. Do you understand? A poultry cannot be located in some kind of residential place. Do you understand? At that scale, because number one, the odor, everything, it should not be located there.
Sure.
So the first that came to my mind was that this person, first of all, violated, or maybe you can say the government gave them approval, but they exploited, do you understand?
Yeah.
The loopholes in government to get their poultry located there in the first place. So now we can now blame the flooding for that, but we should also know that it's a shared responsibility. If the government is bad, it is because we as citizens decided to also exploit. If you see rotten egg on the road, will you go and pick it? Sure. No. If you leave it there and it continues to be there, automatically it will fizzle away. But when you start to patronize rotten egg, it becomes gold. Do you understand? So that is what we have done as citizens. And so if we decide to do our part, play our parts properly, I think the government will sit up. So that's why and because we are more in number.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Citizens are more in number. I mean, what's the ruling class is about 5,000, 10,000. So we are more in number. Imagine if majority of us decide to play our role as good citizens. They don't burn the politician where they are not sit up well. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You would know that you have to follow due process to get things done.
Yeah. But then again, even bringing it down to, the poultry farm incident,
Yeah.
So it's possible that this person might have gone to the government officials, have gone there and they gave him approval and said, you can do this. Anybody's doing it. We have been approving this for other people. And all. So I still believe that even as you are saying that as citizens, we are exploiting the loopholes of the government. I still feel that the government still trying to get their own share of their cake as well. are trying to exploit the, let's say, ignorance of the citizens as well, which I don't think ignorance is a solid excuse for doing whatever as well. So it still boils down to the shared responsibility. So my own question now,
Yeah.
who now speaks to the government? How do we hold the government accountable? If we're holding ourselves accountable, how do we now hold the government accountable?
Well, to hold the government accountable, the only way we can hold them accountable is you promise that we will not see flooding, for instance. We are seeing flooding. The next time you come to say, okay, give me another 4 years, you'll not see flooding, I'll take you out.
Somebody promised that we will see lights.
So if you and if it comes back, whose fault is it?
Is it really our fault?
So I think that the government, first of all, is a combination of even the citizens in the first place.
Of course. It is the
citizens that came together to form this government. So I believe that if the government is this way, it is a broad reflection of who we are as citizens. That is why most times I try to, as much as possible, dissuade myself from just focusing on the government. Because if we collectively, as citizens, do better, it means that somehow, some way, someone better will get to government. But if we are, imagine there's somebody that was dumping refugees as a citizen in waterway. Imagine, see the video of that man that was trending from his car. Imagine somebody leaving his house with refuse in his car, and it was with a big car, and he took it to a water path and decided to dump it there. That is how citizens are. That is how we speak. So I don't know, that kind of person now would still call out the government. Do you understand? That kind of person will still call out the government. On what is your local standing for calling out the government if you and the government you're just in a lower scale of corruption compared to them? Do you understand? So I think, and that kind of person will eventually, maybe someday, get into office. Do you think he cares about what they're going through as a citizen? No. So we collectively, we need to come to an understanding that if we hold ourselves accountable as citizens, some way, somehow, the eventual winner of the next election or the eventual office holder by appointment would come from amongst us. The person who will understand the effect of having a clean society. Do you understand? And so collectively, that's how we grow. But if we just say, okay, let's dump it at the floor of the government, let's dump it at the floor of the government, okay, they can just do so much.
True.
Somebody will still stand up one day and just decide to build a house on a drainage canal. And then when the government comes to maybe demolish, I'm not saying there are no victimizations, but it will be like, you're attacking a certain tribe or all those kind of things. So as citizens, if you see a place that you should not develop a house, don't go there. Don't go there. But somebody will still go there because he believes that he can bribe his way through. So I believe that the only way we can hold the government accountable, first of all, is by holding ourselves accountable. If you see your guy going to dump refuse, that is not how you should be done. Hold yourselves accountable so that eventually, when one of you gets that position, you will know what is right and what is ethical to do.
True. I agree. Well, so to this.
So, but let me get a point of view. Actually, what do you think? Because I know you are very pro-government. Everything should be about the government. What do you think? How do you think we should move forward?
Personally, I believe it's a shared responsibility as well. Do you get? So even as we say yes, we should hold ourselves accountable, I'm still on the line, on the path that the governments were at the forefront. They are the foundation of this problem. If you ask me, the foundation of this problem. We all know the situation of the island right from time. Now, this is a situation that's been going on for a long time right now. So there's nothing new going on right now. And there's no solution has been made by the government. The drainage system is still poor. So even if we're talking about the drainage getting clogged, yes, that's one side of it. But the drainage is so small. I saw the video, one video that was trending in Agungi, and I saw how little the channels were. How do you expect that amount of rainfall? How do you expect water to pass through? So that is not really something I feel the citizens can handle by themselves, especially coming from the side that the people living in Agungi are not really high class. Most of them are middle class citizens. Do you get? Now, speaking on the guy that lost all his investments through the poultry farm and all, I think everything that happened to him was based on ignorance.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel it's ignorance, first of all, because, like you said, he didn't. I don't think he knew that he shouldn't build a poultry farm around that area. He just thought that, oh, let me just open a business. The country is not going well. Let me just do something. And nobody was there to educate him. So I even feel that there should be more, or they should have more conversations about, urbanization, where people live, rural areas and everything, where businesses should be held and other things. So I think there are a lot of things that we need to talk about, to educate people more on this aspect and everything. So it's a whole lot to provide solutions now for this flooding right now.
So you mentioned the drainage. If I'm to prefer solutions, I won't even go through the drainage routes. And here's why. Just like I said earlier, Lagos is a flat land, especially the island axis. It is flat. So the only way, one of the ways that you can now get that kind of land, it will automatically always be flooded because it's a flat land. It does not have a natural slope. Do you understand? So one of the ways to tackle flooding in places like Lagos is to install stuff like these fat pumps. You get me? So those kind of pumps where you can suck the water from low level out. So when rain drops, right, there is enough space on the ground, do you understand, to hold it. But with the way it is now, everywhere in Lagos, most of those places are concrete. So there is no wetland where you can even use to suck that water. So the only way, so that's why I believe that using pumps, right, would be nice. So when you have, even if the drainage is small, when the water coming out, when the pump is sucking as much water as possible. I think there is one already there that sucks at about 3 million liters. I think 3 million liters per hour. So if we have that in strategic locations and on the island, right, you know that the water is going to move down to the coast. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But with the way it is now, it's not even drainages. We should even be employing more of canals, because drainages, no matter how do you want to make, except drainage in Abuja, you understand? Even if you use those scale, right, the kind of flooding, when water drops, it's not just basically about drainage, because drainages have pathways, and just one curve in a drainage, do you understand, is enough to cause a flooding.
Yeah.
So, but when you have pumps, it increases the speed at which the water would flow out. You understand? Creating space for more water flow. So I think we should employ use of those kind of pumps, those big pumps in the first place. And secondly, no offense to anybody, we have to take decisions for national interests. Some houses have to go down.
Exactly.
There have to be creation of lakes, dams, wetlands that were reclaimed. You have to open them back up.
So how does that happen now? Are we compensating anybody?
Yes. So compensation has to be, and you have to compensate people, because.
But when we have issues of demolition, how many cases do we see that they compensate?
So that's I think that's that.
There was a time Erufai was, I remember early 2000. Erufai was, in Abuja, they were demolishing apartment houses, and a lot. Everybody was stranded at that point. There was no system for compensation to the citizens. So if we're talking about demolishing properties right now, I'm sorry, leaving people stranded.
So you see, when you talk about demolition, I've witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah.
I think I was 5 years or 6. I don't know. I can't remember. But when Erufai was demolishing, that was in Abuja, and where we suffered from that also.
As well.
Yeah, we're staying at Airport Road. So, and I think at that time, it was not because it was ignorance, first of all, on both the part of the government and the citizens. Because I think at that time, my dad had so many houses. he had a place where he had about 25 flats. Yeah, around the airport road, Chika, all of those axes, right? And for all of those houses, obviously there was no documentation to prove that the houses were yours. So they just went on a demolition spree.
You say ignorance on the government's
So
part?
ignorance on the government's part, because I think El-Rufai was a high-handed man. So he just felt like if he tried to, because in Nigeria sometimes you just have to go straight up with what you want. If you try to pardon some people, those that should not be pardoned would enter the pardoned list.
Yeah, true.
So, and that is because we have a greater corruption problem in this country. Do you understand? So I think he just went all out to say, just level the whole place. Do you understand?
We won't call that ignorance on the government now.
Yeah, well, I can say it's ignorance. Ignorance in the sense that you can actually get it done, but you just feel, or you feel like no matter what you want to do, they will still want to bastardize the whole process. So just let them go. Do you understand? So, well, okay, you cannot call that ignorance, but I choose to call that ignorance. But I'm just saying, so I was a beneficiary of, I suffered from that. Maybe I should tell you a story about that. So, at the time that happened, I was still young.
Yeah.
And I think my mom had just given me to my younger sister at the time. So, we had to live in a truck. Right? These long lorries with the foam, with the whole household items inside the truck. While, as you know, the father had to go and look for where to sleep and look for house and all those things. Because it happened like, Nigeria, we feel like nothing will happen.
Yeah.
So when they had marked the houses, and we felt nothing going to happen. So one day, they just came with caterpillar and everything.
But you witnessed it, sir.
I was looking at them.
School and saw it outside.
So I was looking at them. I was trying to secure my ball.
Yeah.
Because I had the ball then. Those
priorities, bro.
Yeah.
Priorities.
So I just felt like they are just demolishing everything. And I didn't know whether I was sad or happy. It was like a feeling of my parents were trying to console me that we are going to a better place. So that I thought maybe we are going to a better place. But when we slept in a lorry for the first night, is this the better place? The second night, is this the better place? So we witnessed that. So we had to move with the lorry and we had to be paying the driver of the lorry. So we practically lived in the lorry because these stuffs were too much. You could not rent a hotel to put them in. So it was like that. So we had to move from one place to another till we got a place to settle, till we moved the things to some people's houses, and before we started to gather ourselves together. So that was the process of demolition. I would not say that if you look at the national interest, right, as a beneficiary of that, we suffered through that. It was hectic. But I know that moving forward, we have to be practical about how we do things in the country. Look at the national interest above personal interest. And that's the only way we can move forward as a country. So if the role the government has to now play is then, if someone is deserving of compensation, there should be no corruption to that.
What qualifies someone to be deserving of compensation?
What qualifies someone to qualify for compensation? For me, or for the Constitution, first of all, or for housing rules, first of all, is that you are a duly registered occupant of where you are. Number one, you have your land papers, your housing documentation, all of those things check. Do you understand? So the government has to compensate you for going through the rigor of acquiring this properly, legally. And then they're not trying to override your personal interest for national interest. You have to be duly compensated. Second thing, that is based off on the housing code and conduct in this country. But for me personally, I believe that if someone has lived in a certain place for a long period of time, let's say 10 years, 15 years, you didn't drive them out when they came on the first year. You didn't drive them when they came when they were living there on the 5th year. I mean, they deserve some form of compensation. That has become a place of abode. That is already where they already come to. That's where they come to rest their heads. Do you understand? So even if on a scale of 1 to 10, you compensate the person that has all his documentation ready, maybe a 9 or a 10, you have to still give these people some level of compensation. Do you understand? Because they contributed directly or indirectly to the economic growth of your country, whether they were there legally or illegally.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because in one way or the other, they try to reduce the housing deficit of the country.
True.
So those people should be compensated. And thirdly, people that are we can consider just like they call them, what they call the omoniles, all those kind of people. That you can say this is their ancestral homes. They should be compensated also. So those are I believe personally, those are the people that should be compensated.
Yeah.
For this
But then I still believe that even marking down houses and telling people, oh, leave after so period of time, I don't think it's enough to just, going from what you just said, that once somebody has their house and papers legally documented, this person is a legal occupant of this house.
Yeah.
After the person has gone through that process, I don't believe that you just waking up one morning and marking their house X and say leave this place. I don't think it's enough. If you're telling somebody to leave that place, you should be making provisions for them. If you are not giving them somewhere to stay, you should be giving them something at least.
Yes, there should be some form of compensation.
Yes. But in Nigeria today, you just see that they just mark a place X and nothing, and that's all.
I believe that it happens. It happens in so many places, and that's why the government needs to do so much more in this house, because they are not providing housing for us. Do you understand? So we go to length to provide housing. So we should be compensated for that.
Exactly.
In countries where they even provide housing for their citizens, they still compensate them in so many ways. Talk more of here, where you have to go and look for the 50 million, the 20 million, whatever house you are going to build, and erect a structure. And all of a sudden, government comes to say they're taking it down. There should be some form of compensation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if, for instance, let me tell you where the citizen comes in now. You are building a house, right? Before you even completed the house, you were sent warnings. Like the houses that were demolished, I think is in Kota, part of Lekki.
Yeah, I heard that.
Those houses, when they were still building those houses, they were sent warnings to tell you that you are building on a canal.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Stop this development. But the typical Nigerian, I can bribe my way. I know somebody.
Yeah.
My uncle is the king. My uncle is the this, and all of those kind of things. That's the typical Nigerian mindset. And they kept on building. The fact that the correct thing was not done today does not mean it's not done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So if somebody that is decisive comes on that seat and decides to punish you, I think that they have all legal backing to do so, because you've been warned upon your development right from inception.
Yeah.
Do not do this, but you kept on doing it. Do you understand? So I think they have every legal, and I don't even think you even deserve some form of compensation.
Yeah.
Because you broke the law. You should be behind bars. Do you understand? Yeah. So, but you decided to keep going. So those people do not deserve compensation. But for those that had to go to settle, or for those that got their legal documents from the government, and the government, they deserve compensation. They deserve compensation. So,
well, from what it is, the issue in Lagos right now, the island rather, I feel that there's going to be a lot of compensation that has to be done, because there have to be serious demolition that is going to be, because like you said, the drainage is not even enough for that place and all. But it's crazy. Let's see what our governments and what our citizens as well should do.
So, and also finally, before we wrap, the sea levels are encroaching. So I think it would be a good place to advise people to do their due diligence before getting apartments. Do you understand? So we are battling so many things in Lagos State, for instance. We are battling weak drainages. We are battling high sea levels compared to the land. So we are battling grid. We are battling drainage compressions. There are so many things we are battling. So before you get to build, or before you get to buy a house, you should consider these factors. Do you understand? You should consider these factors. Where is the sea level compared to where your house levels are? Do you understand? So I don't even advise anybody to start doing anything around that coastal place. We need to speak about the effect of the coastal road on this thing, because it has really cost a lot. And we know when the people like you and I start to criticize the government that you are not doing well, it seems like you're attacking them. But I mean, for a project of that magnitude, to not even have an environmental impact analysis, do you understand, submitted upon inception. That says a lot about what the government is doing, right? So there's a lot that still needs to go. So as citizens, prioritize doing your background checks before you get into this housing mess.
That's a whole lot.
It's a lot, my brother.
Well, the take home from this is that we need to hold ourselves accountable as citizens, and also we still need to hold the government accountable, guys. See you on the next episode.
Yeah.